There we go. Good morning. Welcome to Contemporary Issues. We are so glad to have you here today. And we're going to talk about technology made easy for seniors. We have been talking for some time about having some experts come in and answer our questions about our televisions and our computers and our Apple Watches and our everything, and why it's hard for us. Why is it so easy for teenagers and why is it harder for us? Anyway, today we will hear from Steve and Dean, and I'll introduce them, let them introduce themselves a little more in a moment also. But first, our usual announcements. Zoomers, welcome, and please mute yourself in the lower left corner of your screen to keep the background noise down. We are recording this for future playback. And I want to welcome any first timers that are here too. My name is Steve, and I'm the leader of our group. And yeah, Dean, thank you for being with us, Dean. And any other announcements? I want to say happy birthday to Jim Watson over here, 96. 96.
Nice to have you back here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
In the flesh.
In the flesh, that's right.
Yes, we would like to say, as you get older, be careful of those grandkids and great grandkids because we got RSV.
You got the RSV virus from the grandkids? Oh, yeah. Those little germ bags, that's right. Better be careful. Careful these days. We love the little germ bags, of course. Okay. Any other Christmas announcements?
We
Anybody?
celebrated our 49th wedding anniversary this week.
Oh. Wasn't an intentional messing with you. Very good. Okay. All right. Well, I invited Steve, our St. Andrew member, hot from the choir this morning, to come to talk to us about technology. And so, Steve, please introduce yourself and tell us of why you and Dean are working in technology. What your background is.
So Dean and I are good friends. Our kids play soccer together. So that's how we met each other, was the soccer thing and stuff. And Dean and I have a great relationship. We keep getting each other into things. So yesterday, he got me into, we did the Santa run. I did the Santa run around Sloan's Lake because of him yesterday. And I'm returning the favor by bringing him here today. So we have one of those kinds of relationships. I'm going to switch the order. Go to the third slide. Go to the third slide. Okay. So my introduction is that I spent my whole career in computers. I started way back when on punch cards. Okay, so to give you an idea. So what's humorous is that I've watched the whole thing happen and I actually understand it. The other thing is that for some reason then God gave me the ability to understand computers, but he also gave me the ability to speak. So that was what I did my career with, was just doing that whole thing. And I did really, really big projects for quite a number of companies. And that's my history about technology and stuff. In the middle of my career, there's two things that I need to highlight. One is my mission statement. My personal mission statement is quite strong and it came directly out of my involvement with St. Andrew. And that is my personal mission statement is to reduce people's suffering related to computers and technology. It took on huge forms in my life then as I dealt with things. My area of expertise was dealing with computer systems that never failed. That was my area of expertise. I dealt with hospitals, police departments, fire departments, things like that. I dealt with I dealt with companies that did Black Fridays. Okay, so like those kinds of things. And if you can imagine in a place then with where things are going on then, and you have a computer system failure right at the instance of when they need to have the systems work. That's what I dealt with. I dealt with trying to reduce people's pains on the magnitude of hundreds and thousands of people in the same computer system at the exact same time. I dealt with the other thing that was quite common was it's common to go into places that right after massive failures happen. And one of the things that I brought to them was grace. I would often have to have the conversation of, this person made a failure. Do we nix them? Do we can them? Are they repairable? And those are the kinds of conversations I was involved with. And so for me, it's been a very wonderful career to be graced with this ability to understand computers, but to also bring compassion with what's going on with it. That's one aspect. Now, I went off the deep end with computers, okay? I mean, I were really off the deep ends of studying some stuff. One of the things that I studied was biology, linguistics, and the interaction of computer systems. So what this means is I'm going to talk only about the biology side. I'll talk about linguistics another day. The biology side is that what there is that one of the things we're going to be talking about today is it's a concept that we've all experienced, and I'm going to use the car as an example, okay? And what it is that your body is and your mind is doing one thing all the time, and that's to make you survive in your environment. How do I actually work with this, okay? How do I live with everything that's going on around me? 100 years ago, there wasn't any computers, there wasn't anything like this, there wasn't any cars, okay? So your biology couples to your environment. Your biology couples to your car, okay? If you think about the days of when you learn to drive a car, you're sitting there and you have to think about everything. You have to think about that you're going to turn the turn signal on before you turn it, okay? And you're looking all around to try to figure out what's important for me to learn, what's not important for me to learn, you know? And then after you practice it over and over and over again, what happened? It went so far into your subconscious that it's gone.
Automatic.
It's automatic. You know, you don't think about turning on your left turn signal anymore. You don't think about that I have to check the right side before I go do that. You're instinctively looking that way. But that's what happens with this. What I'm going to tell you is that's one of the things that we're going to be talking with you about is that you have to spend time. You have to spend time on your technology. You have to spend some time on understanding with what you're doing. And if you're not going to spend the time, it's okay. It's okay. Just don't do it. Okay? Literally. And kids and other people around you will understand it. Okay, is what I want to tell you. Is that kids understand, oh yeah, that's grandma. You know, hey, you know, like that. And they understand about with what you're doing. So you'll be incredibly frustrated if you don't invest the time with your technology and get used to it. You have to understand, you have to dance with it enough to understand with what's normal and what's not normal, okay? And when you change stuff, you're gonna have to learn it all over again. It's like when you get a new car. Oh my gosh, the air conditioning works differently now, okay? The radio stations, okay? It's like all the other things, you know, the new cars, you know, with all the new stuff that they do, it's awesome. But it's awesome to be able to have that happen around you, but you have to spend the time to get used to that, okay, is what I'm saying. So we're going to talk more about this as we go along, but I wanted to have you understand about why we're talking about the way that we're talking about it. Now, Dean is a different animal, and he's going to describe himself, and then if he misses anything, then I'm going to describe what my relationship is with Dean. So Dean, tell him about what you do and how you got here and stuff.
Well, I got roped into this. No.
Loud voice, please.
Louder voice. That's fine. Yeah. Steve and I have been neighbors for about 25, 30 years now. And our sons played soccer together. I've been in tech for about 35 years. I started out as a helicopter mechanic back years ago in the Army and decided that aviation wasn't for me. I had an opportunity to come to Denver and go to school here, become a computer operator. So this was back in the big glass room and swapping things and things like that. And my career took me into the PC world and standardization and learning how to support everybody sitting at home on a desk or, you know, in an office at a desk, to help them make this technology do the work that they were trying to do. I have been a support person for an awfully long time. And that sometimes can be frustrating because sometimes people don't want to listen to your advice. but other times it could be very satisfying. You get somebody through the project, they're driving themselves crazy around or something like that. Lately, I've been working in entertainment. I've been working for Stars Media for a long time. It's been a great ride. And recently had a new grandson, so that's been my biggest distraction. That's our first, and so work is no longer interesting. Hopefully, I can talk to you guys about some of the things about how my success with standards and trying to do things the same way for lots of people rather than treating everybody as it's a hard balance because everybody has their own sort of way of working, and then there's a lot of people who, if we all do it the same way, we can all kind of work together and understand how it's ought to work, so we can recognize when that's a little bit out of spec or whatever else.
So Steve and Dean are gonna show a few slides here and talk, and then they're gonna take our questions for sure, because I told them that we have questions on TV services and computers and some challenges each of us have. We want some answers to. So we will get to that.
That's
We
right.
will get to that really quickly. Yes, okay, we want to.
So
And also an example is that Linda just brought up her microphone, which connects to her hearing aids. So it's an
Implants.
implant.
Oh, very
okay?
nice. That's
An example of how technology helps us today. And we have so many examples. Watching this replay on YouTube, people can too. So just an example. Okay. Want to get into the slides?
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through, I'm gonna do an overview then of some suggested steps. We're gonna do this backwards. We're actually gonna tell you at a very high level what our recommendations are going to be. Okay, then you're going to see when we actually take a look at individual questions, you're gonna see why we make the answers that we make. Okay, so we wanted to maybe have you understand the whys about what we're doing with it, and the two overriding things that I want to give you some useful takeaways. I want to make this real so it's concrete, so you understand what you got to do. So the first one is we're going to go over the suggested steps then. So go to the next slide, please. Okay, and we're going to do an overview of the suggested steps. Then we're going to deep dive into each one of the things then and answer your questions about what happens. And then anything we'll do at the very end. Next slide is the next one is we'll do questions and answers at the end for what we're going to do. So let's go to the next one, which is.
Excuse me 1 second. Steve, we can't see the slides.
You can see the slides. Well, I'm so glad we have two tech
I was
experts
just
here
gonna
to
say.
tell us what's going on.
So that you're sharing only one portion of the screen, you're only sharing that screen right there.
Okay,
So you need to go to Zoom.
what do I press?
You need to go to the Zoom.
This is the technology
Yeah.
demonstration.
And sharing, we're sharing.
Oh, sharing, I'm not sharing.
You're not sharing.
Right, okay. Thank you,
So now what we're
Susan.
observing is that you have to use something enough for you to understand
Yes,
that what we're talking about here. So he's aware that he was just sharing the wrong thing. So we have to find the place
just to
where we're
make the
sharing it.
screen bigger, and it'll show it, share will come up.
There it is. Share screen.
Share screen, there
Share
it
screen.
is. There we
Like
go,
this.
we're gonna get it.
No.
That'll be
Don't
just
you wanna
the
share both tabs?
You're right,
Share screen.
darn this technology.
Yeah.
Oh, there it shifted. It shifted. Good.
There we go.
Okay.
I know it's right.
There we go, thank you, Susan.
The first thing of everything that you do within technology is to simplify it. Okay, now, no, exactly, that was a good reaction to it, okay. And then you have to think about this. You have to think about simplifying it, okay? You have to think about not interacting with so many things, okay? This world, the reason why kids are dealing with it is because they were born with it. They were from the time that, my gosh, I get around kids now and parents are handing the iPhone or the iPad to the kid, and the kid's playing with it from the time it's 2 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, so this thing's totally indoctrinated, their mind, their biology, everything is just already going to that thing. And for us, it's like, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to use a smartphone? Is it worth me having to devote enough time for me to have to learn a smartphone to take advantage of what it's going to be? Or do I choose to actively get a phone that's not as smart? You know, do I want to get one that's a more regular phone and just tell the kids, forget it. I don't do text messages. Call me, damn it. Okay? And you set your boundaries for what's going to make yours, it's your sanity. Okay? And so you can set them to this because it's about with what it is. So be realistic about whether or not you're going to take this thing on. But go back to the car. Okay? If you want to lead a really dangerous life, just partially learn to drive a car. Okay, this is why I thought about this analogy so good. Because it's like, okay, so if I change lanes and I just don't look, okay. Think about this, and it's the same things about technology. Okay, if you don't spend enough time using the technology, then you will drive other people into the ditch. You know, it's like that kind of thing. And if you have to spend time going through and doing it, so simplify your life, that's one thing, okay? And Dean and I have talked through these are the two recommendations out of our presentation. Forget you, after the second recommendation, you can leave. Okay, it's like that. So the second one is who provides your support? Where do you get your support for what you're dealing with?
Grandkids.
Grandkids, yeah.
Grandkids
Who
support,
answers
but
your
it's by domain. It's by domain. I get my grandkids support me for my phone. Who supports you for your television set? Okay, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like that. And so you segregate out these domains about it, okay? And one of the ways that you do this is you segregate out, I'm only going to deal with my television set, my stereo, my entertainment, and I'm going to get this, and I'm going to make sure that I can get it supported. Because your support can die. Okay, if you're using family members, okay? Oh, I'm my husband. Okay, they die.
Well, it's the same thing I'm getting here, but they changed everything around.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so go, Dean, tell them they're just not available. You remember that?
They're unavailable, yes, they're not.
But you have to have that one question answered. You know, it's gone, okay? All of a sudden, my sound doesn't work in my stereo system. What? You know, and if you can't figure out that one question about why is the television set not playing through my speakers anymore? You know, until you get that question answered. So support is your deal, okay? This drives us to one of the other things. It's about cost, okay? There are organizations that will cost you more money, but they will be able to answer your questions. So you have to think about the bigger thing about with what there is. We're going to talk about other areas of support than what you actually think about. But the two things is to constantly simplify yourself, constantly. And if you know, like the whole thing, do you have enough time to pray and meditate every day? You know, it's like the whole values thing about that. And then the other thing is where you pay for your school. So that's what we want to do. So Dean, what did I miss?
No, I think
We there?
I mean, there are so many ways to complicate this stuff. Every widget out there I have a dryer that connects to the internet. Do I need a dryer that connects to the internet?
Do you need a smart house? Go on.
Yeah, I mean, so I think Steve's right. You talk about why this technology, some of it's very interesting. You know, you drive by the houses with the Christmas display and all that stuff. It's fascinating, but the amount of effort it really takes to get that, maybe it's fine to enjoy somebody else's efforts and not have to do it yourself. That's fine.
I got a new garage door and I can open and close it from my phone. But the guy had to set it up for me.
And if it doesn't.
If it doesn't work, then I don't need that, you know?
You have to invite him back.
Handle.
Yes.
But you have to know that.
But you can do it like this is like if you're upstairs in your house or, you know, if you're out somewhere and you look at your phone, oh my God, I forgot to close my garage door. You can do that.
Yep.
No, it's not when you're
Well,
driving.
mine, I'm the worst. I drive off and leave it open. And it says, oh, you've been gone for 30 minutes. I'm going to close it for you, which is
That's
Yeah.
really nice.
I bought a refrigerator a few months ago and the salesman at Best Buy said, wouldn't you like to buy the one with the cameras inside the refrigerator? So you can be at the store and on your phone look to see if you have milk. I said, no, thank you.
I think he does that, right?
Yeah.
So you can see about this simplified thing, okay? You can see, the other thing is that the companies will do is they will continue, they know that people will pay so much money for a refrigerator, so they keep on adding stuff to the refrigerator to make it the same price. Okay, that's why that some of this stuff comes around. It's just unbelievable. The other thing is, please remember, Susie had to spend time with the guy to learn how to operate her garage door.
Opener, yeah.
Okay, like we're saying, you have to learn this stuff. You have to really understand it. Simply focus on a few things, okay? So what do I want to get? What are benefits out of with what I'm going to learn about what we're doing? Okay, next one. Let's see, next one. Okay, this is a big one. This is a huge one, okay? When you do it, you do the whole stack at the same time. You're going to do the whole stack at the same time. So what's a stack? What's a stack? Okay, so your entertainment center. Okay, if I'm going to purchase a new television set, you should purchase a new television set. You should think about getting speakers at the exact same time. You should think about your receiver at the exact same time. Okay, because what ended up happening with mine was mine simplified. I bought a new television set and a new receiver this year. Okay, the television set actually works with the receiver, and I don't have to turn both of them on at the same time. Okay, okay, and it all works out of one controller. But that's what they're doing with it. The other thing is that you have to take the time. I got to learn all of this whole thing all over again. So when you work with that one thing, when you get a new car, learn everything about your car. Okay, you get everything. When you get everything about your stereo, learn everything about your stereo. I had to get a new phone this year. Okay. Yeah, mine was stolen in Paris, France, in the subway system. I got pickpocketed. I had to get a new phone. And then I had to, but then after that, I had to learn this phone all over again. And I had to spend time on getting my phone configured so it would work for me. Okay, so that's what I mean by the stack. Do the whole stack at the exact same time. And it saves you a whole mess of time because I'm thinking about this as this one domain that I've got to deal with it, and then you understand everything about it, and you invest all your time with it at one time. The other thing is it's about saturation, okay? You can spend so much time, you can be oversaturated. If you're doing a phone at the same time you're doing your stereo receiver, at the same time you're doing your garage door opener, then you're spread so thin with all these things, these new things that you're learning, you can be overwhelmed by it. You can. I can experience that. Overwhelm's really easy in your life. So that's the thing about that.
Yes, writing notes. That's, how many people have a list of passwords for their stuff? Because I mean, if you don't, and you should. We have a little blue book. It's paper in a desk drawer. It's more secure than anything on the computer because the bad guys cannot get into the desk drawer electronically. But there's so much stuff to keep track of, and it all kind of, when it's working, it's wonderful, but when it is not, it's
not one.
enormously frustrating. So.
No, we're not done off that. Okay. The other thing, you have to allow yourself to be a beginner. We as Americans are thrown that we have to master everything immediately. We do not ever give ourselves the forgiveness to be a beginner and I don't understand anything about this thing. Okay. And nobody likes to admit that I don't understand this. So give yourself time to be a beginner, and it's going to take time. That's what we're saying about it. And you have to take time in order for you to get it to a place where you understand it and make your notes. My stereo does one thing really bizarre. Okay, if I lose electricity in my house, I have to go through a series of steps. If I don't have those steps written down, then I have to go back and I have to read the manual. Okay? And then it's another, and then Aunt Alice, it's exactly like with what you're saying. It's going to take me another 45 minutes for me to, I remember that it's kind of in this section, I got to go through that. But if I wrote down, and it's 2 steps, it's 2 things that I have to do. Punch this button, and bam, everything's fine again. But so these are the kind of notes that you have to do to make it simplified. And Paper, we're talking paper, you know,
Very reliable.
very reliable, you know.
Yellow
Decent-
stickies.
I'm sorry?
Yellow stickies.
Yellow, yes,
Yes.
and permanence of yellow stickies. You see, I'm not a yellow sticky fan as much as other people are. I do believe that you do need to have something that's like a book like Dean's was talking about there, okay?
My wife has a daisy around her monitor with the yellow.
The sunflower. The sunflower, yes, exactly.
Works great.
So does this really make sense about what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, because this is where the answers really start to come when you start dealing with these other people about what you're going through and doing, okay? All right, next one. What else we've missed? What else you guys observed? Yes,
Could you, if this is appropriate, could you advise me after this is over, where to go to find a garage door service person? I need a new opener.
That's later.
okay, so
Don.
I am,
Don's?
There you go.
okay, and and we're gonna talk about that support right there that you just talked about, which is critically important. That is massively important right there. What did she do? Use the community.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Use the community. I don't have to learn everything myself. Okay, I'm gonna take this one because I'm sorry, you give me this one. This was just totally awesome. All right, let's say, for example, you live in a community. Let's say, for example, then that everybody in this building that's where I live then all has to buy Comcast. Boom! You've got everybody using the exact same internet service, television set that you're doing with them. All of your friends are living the exact same hell that you're going through. So you can ask your friends and ask your neighbors. This is what my mother lived in there. And this was one thing has helped her is that they used to go ahead and get together and talk about how do I want to do the television stuff. They talked about what television set worked miraculously with Comcast and everything else and made it really easy. No joke. The one time within one weekend, they sold 25 sets at Best Buy because everybody said, this is awesome. That solves my problem. Go whenever to Best Buy, there's a Best Buy time, it's pretty heavy. But community is really important about who else is living through the exact same problem you are. Give yourself a beginner. Thank you. You're a beginner. I don't know how to do my garage door. I don't have a clue about this. Thank you very much. Okay. Everybody wants to help. That's the other thing. Everybody wants to help a beginner. Yes, I've suffered through this before, right, Susie? You suffered through your garage door, and now she's having with a garage door. You know, like that. And that's
Just
what's
don't
fun.
share your passwords.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
You
Yeah.
ready for questions like that?
Yeah, we can always, yeah.
I just want to give an example to back up what you're sharing with us.
Please.
So I needed a new cell phone. The one I had, it was on its last legs, and I put it off and put it off. We finally went, I took my support person with me to get the cell phone. And it was suggested that I get a wireless charger along with my phone. And I said, I don't need that. I just use the wire. No big deal. I don't need it. I'm not going to pay the extra several $100s. Not needed. I went home without the wireless charger. We purchased a new pickup truck. One of the features on that pickup truck is a little place to put your cell phone that is a built-in wireless charger. So I should have listened to my support person and I should have understood what was being offered. And then I would have had everything I needed
No more.
ahead of time.
And no more.
Right. So anyway, so use your support people and take their advice and understand what they're offering.
The other thing about this that I forgot about the stack,
Mhm.
okay? Dean and I are really cheap. Really cheap, okay? Well, okay, my phone was really old. Okay, that's what I'm saying. You buy the stack and you use it forever. And don't listen to your friends. I'm fine. My television set serves me fine. Okay, I'm able to get the entertainment that I need. Okay, it's like that. So when you buy it for that, and then you don't have to relearn it again. It's okay to run with old stuff. You know?
Oh, now, yes, I
You don't-
am really cheap.
We don't like to buy stuff that and have it be disposable. okay, that kind of stuff. But who would have thought that you would have had a touch point with your pickup truck at the exact same time with technology? Those two really do meld a lot, and the entertainment and your music that you like is all intermixed with your that whole thing. And the ability to use your cell phone while driving in the car is a very much safer feature.
Yes.
So that's something else that you may wish to do, is to consider that. So, okay, sorry, thank you.
That's okay. Let's talk cell phone questions, since we want to make sure we get to everybody. Jane.
Well, you know, the world is moving on in this direction, but not me. You know, they have these little funny squares that you're supposed to work with. And I'm thinking, why do I want to do that? Why can't I just be me and live in the world where we're living without doing all that stuff? I only have a flip phone. I only use it for phone calls, for my safety when I'm out, or if I have to call him and tell him to open the garage door and take out the groceries from the car and things like that. And, you know, everybody wants to force you into something that you don't want to be in, you know, and they won't allow you to be where you are. And that bothers me a whole lot. I'm 92. I don't want to learn all this new stuff. I've got other things in my life that are more important.
Who has a flip phone or a dumb phone? Anybody besides Jane? Everybody?
I don't have one at
You
all.
don't have one at all?
We walk among you. We exist. The communications challenge.
Does everybody else have an iPhone or an analog phone? Okay. Tech guys, do we have to have an iPhone 14?
I'm gonna, no, you're moving on too fast.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Okay, good. Hold on to it.
Okay.
To answer your question is ask for help. You
Well,
don't need to learn this stuff, and you can ask for somebody else who can assist you with I assume you're talking about like healthcare and Medicare, those kinds of forms, those kinds of questions that you're getting. Is it those kinds of questionnaires that you're getting with where you have to do the check boxes and things?
No, not so much that, but when I go out, you know, if you're at a restaurant, they say, well, just use the little square.
Yeah.
That's a good example of, thank you very much, I like a piece of paper, and
Yeah.
we'll provide it for you, leave.
Yeah, well, they do.
They
Yeah,
do.
that's correct, that's what I'm saying.
I make no paper.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But it's frustrating.
The thing about it's seductive. Okay, that's the other thing is they're trying to always sell you something new, you know, and it's planned obsolescence, everything else like that. I've never seen anything like these phones that you have to, every year you have to get a new one and stuff like that. And the kids will do that. Kids will be enamored to try to get the newest one. You listen to their conversations and stuff like that. And it's just crazy with that. So, yes.
The QR code thing has gotten way out of hand. And for instance, at our church, I think they're moving along too quickly on the electronics for those of us with gray or bleached hair. One of the QR code, we had barely taught everyone to pass the registration of attendance back the other way so you could see who's sitting in your aisle. Well, how are you gonna find that out by the QR code? I mean, that's way out of hand. I miss more bargains at King Soopers because I had a problem getting the QR code to work on their ad. And they're very nice. After you get home, you want to go to their truck with analyzing, 100 entries to see where you were overcharged on but they're moving too quickly. Yeah.
I agree. The ticket that you have to the cashier that says this is the coupon for the cheese that I bought today, it's very effective. He tells you you didn't buy that, take your coupon back and you're fine. But there's a trade-off. There's some convenience to the QR code. I don't have to print the ticket every time, but it can be too inconvenient. I'm constantly having this conversation with my mom about whether or not a cell phone is even appropriate for her, because she doesn't want to learn new things. I'm reaching the point where I don't want to learn new things. I don't think it's unreasonable to say this is what works. And why do you insist? I understand it's hard to do both forever, but no, I can only sympathize. I don't have the answer to why, but it is,
Show the room what a QR code is.
That's, I showed her.
It's the square. It's
Yeah.
the square with the dots in it thing that you walk up everywhere.
What do you do when you're sitting there with your smartphone in your lap and they show this QR code or just, shoot this? How do you get it that quick? I can't even get my phone picked up in time.
They're trying to lead us into the future.
They are. Do you remember your question from a while back? I'm sorry.
Do we have to have an Apple 14, an iPhone 14?
No, you don't.
When I went to the Apple store a few months ago to upgrade from my 10 or something, I said, I think I want a 12. They said, we don't even sell them. We only sell you an Apple 14, our most expensive phone.
Oh,
You
yeah.
figure it out yourself. If you want less than that, go online or get a teenager to help you.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what they told me.
oh, it's ridiculous. I mean, my wife is still using an 8, I think.
Oh,
Do you feel like you're missing out?
It's just Death Valley though. It's the battery.
Well, those
And they
are-
don't give you a new battery on that.
I bought their cheap one,
See?
the SE.
Uh-huh. And it works great.
It works great.
Does everything.
It's an Apple.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have an Apple, you can have an Android.
Yeah.
great.
That's a support problem, but that's.
Yeah,
I love my.
Good.
Sure.
I was just thinking about, we were talking about QR codes and going to the grocery store has really changed because they have those digital ads and you can do it at home. Just put in what you're gonna buy, like making your grocery list, and it automatically does it if you push your King Soopers number in there. So it's much easier. Or if you want to just start out, just make a grocery list on the notes. Yeah.
And I see that's, I think, what Steve was talking about. Once we spend a little bit of time with it and learn how to use this technology and do stuff with it. I have been super frustrated with that app because I couldn't get my login right. So my wife, it worked on her phone, didn't work on my phone. Or you go to scan the thing when I need avocados this week. And no, you couldn't possibly because you can't log in or whatever. So could you have a hang tag? I could just take one with me and go up, but no, heaven forbid. So I'm frustrated on both sides.
They are forcing us to learn all these new things. I bought a new car and that's bad. I mean, the one nice thing is though about driving, when you look on the sides, it flashes if there's a car there.
Yeah.
So that's a safety thing. So I got to the gas station, I needed gas. I looked around on the floor, I'm like, where the hell is the release? I mean, every car I've ever had. So there was a nice young man right behind me, filling up. I'm like, can you help me, please? He was like 30s, I'm gonna say young man. So he goes, oh, it's right down here. I mean, he found it in 20 seconds.
I had the same situation. You feel like,
Yeah,
they don't mind.
but it's ridiculous what they make us. want.
Steve,
Yes.
Steve,
Yeah, go ahead, Grant.
I have a question. I have a comment and a question.
Grant.
This is Grant.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, Argentina won the World Cup, so I just thought I'd throw.
I was gonna hold and watch that.
Okay.
Argentina won? Yes.
Yeah. So
Thank
my
you.
second question is, what do you do when you've got a car and you've got it all kind of figured out, all the bells and whistles and so forth, and somebody gets in your car and they start messing with all that stuff? What do you recommend doing?
No touching.
Recall one.
Check, guys.
On that one, it is a problem because the memorization and things like that, the kids will set it for their memory for what they want to do. I don't have any recommendation about what to do. Dean's comment was.
Just don't let them borrow the car anymore.
Don't touch anything.
Yeah.
Don't touch my car.
I might add.
Should
that
you-
because
should you
that's
just-
my car.
Did you just slap their hand and say, get away?
Don't touch my car. Okay, go ahead.
We have a son who is a chief technology
Officer.
officer of his company. Up here, we're down here. But anyway, we had a Christmas gathering yesterday, and he was telling us T-Mobile is starting to shoot using satellites for their communication. So you want to get confused when they ramp up even more. I suppose this is going to be the next step. But so we can see this coming down the road too, and I'm going, oh, God, help me.
But how's this gonna affect us, Alice? I mean, are we gonna-
Satellite phones, you can use, they can
Oh.
see the whole world rather than, I mean, just the mountains where you go and you don't have any connection, it'll take.
Oh,
care
so
of
it's
that.
better
But
though.
it's much better.
I
Okay.
saw that in Africa. There were some tribes people and they were herding their animals. They were out in the middle of nowhere. They all carried a cell phone.
Well, it's
Yes.
gonna become available, I guess, to the average, like, and the not so average, so it's.
Wow.
A
Okay.
question.
It's okay. Good. It's 11:15. I want to throw out a question I know several of you have. You've asked me to ask them. And that is, should we cut the cable on our TV?
That's where I was.
I'm paying 150 or 175 a month. What new service should I go to? Some of us have gone to YouTube TV for $70 a month. I haven't. I'm very happy with it. What do you recommend?
Well, I'll answer, because I am that same guy. I don't care for all I'm in the business, and then the fragmentation and the splits for television has just become incomprehensible, not only to us, but to the industry. So I'm lazy. I don't want to learn a new thing. So I stay with DirecTV or Comcast because it works. I know when I go to this channel, I can see everything that's on. I can pick what I want. I can record it. I can come back. When you have 9 different services, what was that thing I wanted to watch? How do I go find it again? Where is it? There isn't. One of the things that I think has to be invented is a aggregator that can basically do what cable did and bring everything back to where I can find it again. But
What channels?
yeah, what service? So
Was it on Prime or Netflix?
it's
Where that thing was.
very frustrating to me. So from a recommendation perspective, is where you have the time to spend. If you want to learn the Roku TV and how all those different things plug in and do things, if that's something that you're interested in, all the technologies work relatively well, but it is a commitment to a whole different kind of ecosystem. And I'll tell you what, when you start to add those bills up, it still comes out to $175 a month, which is super frustrating.
So
What is streaming?
Just a moment. I want to highlight and then I'll answer the streaming question in a second. So it gets back to the real cost is, once again, is what we just answered that with this support, right? He just answered it as, where is he going to get his support and how much is his support going to cost? Okay. The same thing with them is that your implied thing is you understand or have a friend or understand that can explain to you somehow you're going to get support about YouTube. Okay. But the real cost of that is he just happened to forget, oh, I'm not going to even pay for internet. Okay. Most cable companies, when you do it, it's a full stack of the internet and your television service embedded in it, and also the control top of whatever your device is. It's all going to be. It's that total cost is with what we're talking about. Okay. So but notice that it's really easy to just kind of separate that and not do that. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what is cutting cable?
Streaming.
Okay. So streaming is, you have the internet coming into your house, okay? What you pay for is you pay for media. Media going over your internet is the most expensive thing that you have because If you have text messages, it's like this much bandwidth to do it. But if I need to shoot a television show across the thing, I'm shooting over the video, the sound at the exact same time, and all kinds of other information with it. You have to have a really large amount of stuff then in order for that to happen. To answer the question is, streaming is that they use the internet to transmit the actual media over they use the internet to transmit the media coming in. So your movie that you're watching, that's what streaming is. So when I say streaming is streaming in one case could be Xfinity, because that's one source for what you're doing, or it could be many different things. YouTube, ESPN, Roku's, all of these are other things then, but each one of those things have got Fire Sticks. All of these words that are out there are all for what is it that I want to have for entertainment. You want to have a really difficult time is try to figure out what do you do, okay? And this gets back to simplify. What do you really watch?
Well, I can do a little bit of
Yeah.
the difference. Streaming versus in the industry, we call it linear. So a linear broadcast, this is CBS News or your cable channel. It's all scheduled. It says at 10 a.m. this is going to be on, and we'll watch it. And then maybe you used to have a VCR. We all used to record our stuff, right? And we had a tape that we watch it later. That's how we did this. And so now we have the DVR services and some of the stuff that the people are putting out, and that's still linear sort of delivery. And a streamed delivery is where the industry thought was where we all wanted to go, was on demand. I want it now, and I want it on my phone or whatever. But there is no pausing it or saving it for later, because it's always going to stream from wherever it is. There's no local copy. There's no something that you have as a device that's holding it anymore. So it's being delivered to this thing at the moment, and when you turn it off or change the channel or whatever, that stream is stopped and the new stream comes in or something like that. Where, as opposed to the linear model, which we can still fast forward through commercials and do things like that I like. But that's, and I mean, like Hulu, you can't skip stuff. You're going to watch whatever they put in front of you on Hulu. Yeah, so but that's the goal, right? Is to get those eyeballs watching those things.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to go right to Steve's comment, which is right after this. So Steve, say it again with what you just said.
If it doesn't come through the air, I don't watch it.
Okay, now this is huge, folks. This is really big. So the other thing is that you can do is you can buy an antenna and stick it on your television set, and you can watch still the main stations, but it's not just 4 anymore. There's over 50 that are operating out of Denver. Okay, there's 50 free televisions, but you have to watch advertisements. Exactly. So it's the same thing, but you have to watch it at this time. I like the convenience of being able to watch the news when I want to watch the news. Okay, that thing.
Is the
So that's
picture clear?
it's 4K.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
You can get absolutely, yeah.
You don't need to do rabbit ears and aluminum
No,
foil on
no,
it.
you can have the antenna can be as small as a foot diagonal for it, and you stick it even back just behind your television set. Okay, for that, and you can get 50 stations that are for free.
Didn't know
So you have to think about, am I really gonna do that? So to answer, I'm gonna go really twist your mind with this, is I have a tool that I paid money for that allows me to record that. So I record over the air. My wife is an NBC junkie. She wants to watch NCIS every single time that it comes on, okay? And Blue Bloods and like that, okay? So we have one station that we like to watch then. I purchased a device that's called a DVR. I capture over those over the air, and then we can watch them at any time that we want to, okay? Then the only thing that I buy is for the months that college football that is on, I buy for 4 months, I pay for an additional thing so I can watch college football games. And then I shut it off, okay, because I'm really cheap with it. But it comes back to is that our family is okay just watching that. You know, and if we watch YouTube, we sit in front of a PC and do it. It's okay. So, yeah.
I have a
Yes.
question.
Go ahead, Sharon, then I'm gonna get Esther and Christine also.
The cost, if you stream or get that antenna, and you lose your, well, you go to your company, your provider, and you get your internet, it's almost the same price.
That's right.
That's the crazy thing. So
That's
why
correct.
would I try to learn how to stream?
Okay, so this gets to the other war thing. I'm gonna tell you something that people don't want to do, which is to be the really annoying customer. Okay? And call them up and, yeah, you're gonna sign up for that initial fee that says that they're gonna sign you up for the new one is for $50 a month. I can get 6 gigabytes, okay? Means something for Dean and me. You sign it up for 2 years, you get $50, you get 6 gigabytes. Then at the end of the 2 years, you call them up and say, I'm going to discontinue your service. Okay, if you don't give me this discount, because they want to take you up to $150 or whatever it is to the current fee. If you keep on, but you have to do it every year. You have to be a jerk and tell them that you don't want to do that. That is a technique. I am comfortable doing it. Other people are not comfortable doing it.
Sometimes it doesn't work though.
That's true.
So then you have to hang up and get a new person.
That's correct. And you have to do that more than one time at the same
Yeah, so
time.
that gets annoying, right?
Yeah, all of that. And it's, what do you spend your time and how much does it work to you? It all gets back to, is it worth you taking the time to do it? For some people,
Bucks a month.
if it's $100 a month, I'm not gonna run it.
Comcast has got to be on that.
Oh, they are.
It's called a retention thing. You have to ask it, you get the norm, if you call up and do it with the normal person, they won't do it, but if you draw the retention thing, they do exactly do it. And they know that and they will play to it but you have to be, like Susie has said, you have to do it 6 times or whatever in order for you to get to that right person, but they will do it.
You have to do that.
You should.
I know, you should not have to do that as
Esther
a
and Chris-
customer.
Esther and Christine have been really patient.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Esther.
I just want to make a comment, and probably most of you have this, but if you have hearing aids, make sure that your audiologist puts the program on your phone, because that starts the T-coil. I don't know what the T-coil is, but you hear much better. When I go into sanctuary with my T-coil, I can hear everything. If I don't have that, I have difficulty hearing. So if you have hearing aids, make sure you have that app, and it didn't cost you any more. Just make sure if they don't offer it, you ask for it.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you. Christine.
Yeah, I have kind of a bundle with the Xfinity, the landline and the TV and my computer. And I also have mobile with them, which is only at $13 a month. But when I have that package, I can record, like you say, all my
Yes.
programs.
Yes.
I can watch fast forward through all the commercials. So if I ever wanted to do streaming, I'd have to break away and pay an additional amount.
You pay for the internet separate from what you're paying for the rest of the data that you're going to get. The rest of the television stations you want, it's internet and however many of these other stations that you want to stream to your house.
The
Yes.
service you buy from Xfinity gives you the ability to stream. So that has to do with which packages you buy from Xfinity and which stations, because a lot of them now are bundling a different way, but they'll bundle the streaming app because you're a cable customer already, so you don't have to pay extra for Hulu or HBO Max or whatever. A lot of the streaming emphasis is on being able to bring that programming to your phone or your tablet, or, because God help you if you didn't watch TV for 15 minutes. The nice thing about streaming when you're a customer like you are, is that you do have the ability to potentially bring that programming to devices that aren't next to the cable box. But if you're subscribing to these premium channels, by and large, they have an option for you to bring that streaming app to a new device and log in as an existing cable customer. So it isn't an additional cost, or I'm saying that with a broad brush, there's always exceptions, but.
But I don't have HBO or those extras.
Okay.
I have like a basic.
Okay.
So I don't pay extra for HBO, but I can piggyback with my son on Netflix, so I can also get that
So,
without paying for it.
right.
But the other,
But someone pays.
yeah, but so I've got way more stations than I need.
Right.
But that's why, my children, they don't have cable,
Mhm.
they do their streaming thing. So it wouldn't serve me then to try to do any other, I don't need to do anything additional to get it.
I would certainly suggest that, it's kind of like Steve, if you're a college football person and you couldn't possibly survive fall without college football, then you maybe have to do something different. But, if everything is doing what you need it to do, the people in the industry are pretty clear on how much you're paying. And if you're going to drop something over here, magically it shows up over here and the same dollars come in. My kids do the same thing, that one of them buys the Disney subscription and the other one buys the Netflix subscription, and they share both of them. So they're both paying something, but the subscriptions are being shared around. And the industry, again, knows this is going on.
I think they're gonna catch you.
There is going to have to be they're discovering that this business model is going to change, but they're not going to be able to say to my kids, you both have to pay full price for your subscriptions. They'll lose people.
Okay.
So they're going to do something where they're going to say, friends and family, you're a Netflix subscriber and your child can have an account for $3 a month. Or, they'll do something, but it'll be different. They're still trying to figure out what it's going to be, but yeah.
Just a couple minutes left, so let's go to Joyce.
I wanna
and then-
hijack at the end.
Yeah, give them the last few minutes.
Just a question about you for after, if you even have time. In May of this year, I canceled my direct. I got a statement that said, canceled, we owe you $101. I turned on the phone, do you think I have $101?
Not a
And I
chance.
have documentation. Right now, I'm gonna put my credit card on and go get my money. Are there any other suggestions?
That's
Just
about
like
it.
that.
The credit
Yeah,
card.
the credit card company is definitely an interesting angle if you did through it, because they have to advocate on your behalf because they put money through it. They have to justify the 3% of why they should get the 3% fee.
Wow.
So that's one avenue, try to go through the credit card company. The other one is to just very nonchalantly write a letter that tell them you're gonna turn them over to the FCC.
There you go.
Hit it with a baseball, a legal baseball.
The name of one of them.
Yeah, email, yeah. Either some other one, yeah.
Jane, quick question, and then we're gonna give them the last one. And further questions, come up and ask them after class, because we gotta go.
Well, at the beginning, you said there was this question that people have, why do the grandkids and great grandkids know what to do and do it easily, and we have a hard time? I think it's because, for me anyway, and I suppose for others, you're so afraid that if you press something, it's going to destroy everything, or you're going to get yourself into something that you don't want to pay for. And for some reason, you're very cautious because of all the years you've lived, you found that to be true.
Yeah, right.
So that puts a big block in your head about doing things. I want to delete all of my emails from way back when. And so one of the geek people who came out to do something else for us a couple of years ago said, here's what you do. But I'm afraid to do it because I'm afraid it's going to destroy everything on my computer. And so you're very hesitant. Now, 20 years ago, our 2-year-old granddaughter was in the computer room with Jim, and he was frustrated about something, and she was 2 going on 3, and she said, Grandpa, it's loading. There we were, because you're afraid to do something. And she's very confident, if you wait, you'll find out what you need.
That's a really, I think it's human nature, right? I think that's that unfamiliar thing. It's frustrating because I know in history, the administrative assistants we had when I started in the business, right? They knew where everything was, and their executive would ask for whatever, and magically it would appear as and as we went through this technology introduction to the world, suddenly the executive had to type his own letters and things like this. And we're paying this guy a ton of money to correct his own grammar or whatever, but it's, we have this sort of specialization in the world that says, you're not a computer expert, you should trust me to do whatever it is.
Yeah.
But we somehow expect you to know how to operate the thing magically. You think about how much this computer costs. That's like a $1,200 piece of equipment, and we hand it to you at a store with 15 minutes of introduction. Here you go, and you wouldn't do that to anybody, honestly. Here's a power saw or anything else, But somehow we have this expectation that we can all figure this out on our own.
Okay, fellas.
I'm
last
sorry,
one.
yeah.
That's okay. You're absolutely right. Here's this complicated thing. Good luck. Okay.
So we did make it through this whole thing. Do you want us to come back and finish this out? Okay, so that's one thing, okay.
Good.
I'm trolling, okay? Is there anybody in this room that would like to know about how to get a lot of money from your credit cards? Specifically, would people like to know about how to be able to travel for free by using their credit cards? Anybody interested in that? And another one is how many people would be interested if you could use your credit cards and once a year get a check for $1,000 or $2,000 back to you? Would you be interested in that?
Sure.
Okay, the caveat for that is that you have to be responsible with credit cards. Okay, so if that's another, those are a couple of other ones then, and I will bring in that one. I'll bring in a guy then that has developed a company that I just can't believe. It goes back to with what Steve's saying. Steve Forrest was saying, I can't believe the credit card companies do this. I absolutely cannot do it, and it's because there are so many other people that are not responsible with credit cards. But for us that are responsible for credit cards, then we're just leaving money on the table, and it's astronomical. In the last year, I made $4,200
From your credit cards?
for my credit cards.
Wow.
Travel, $4,200 worth of stuff then through because of the techniques that we used on the credit cards for doing it.
Oh, I want to learn that.
Yeah.
I'm not the land speed record. There was a lady last year that made $14,200.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God.
But she has to think about how much she had to spend to do that, like that. kind of thing. But I'm saying for us, for you guys, minimally, everybody in this room could easily get $1,000 back. Just on your normal everyday credit card purchases, gas station purchases, things like that.
We will have these fellas back and talk about technology and other things. And thank you, Steve and Dean, for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everybody. No Sunday school next week on Christmas Day. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
So we've got 2 weeks off.
2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Sorry.